Imagine you're standing on a frozen wasteland with temperatures so cold your breath turns to ice. Now imagine racing against time, your own survival on the line, to be the first human to conquer the South Pole. Two men set out on this journey, Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen, meticulous and calculated, versus British officer Robert Falcon Scott, driven by national pride. Only one of them would make it back alive. This is a story of daring ambition, life or death choices, and one of history's greatest rivalries. Ready to find out who won, and at what cost? Let's go. The South Pole in Antarctica is one of the most extreme places on Earth. Imagine vast, icy plains, freezing temperatures that can drop below 50 degrees, 58 degrees, and constant snowstorms. At the start of the 20th century, no human had ever reached this desolate, frozen point at the bottom of the world. It was the ultimate prize in the heroic age of Antarctic exploration. Amundsen and Scott were ready to take on the challenge, but their methods and preparations couldn't have been more different. First, let's meet our explorers. Roald Amundsen from Norway was an experienced polar traveler. He'd already made a name for himself by being the first to navigate the Northwest Passage, and he had a reputation for meticulous planning. Amundsen was practical, focused, and incredibly resourceful. On the other side was Robert Falcon Scott, a British Navy officer who had already attempted an Antarctic journey in 1901. For Scott, this wasn't just about discovery, it was a matter of national pride. Britain wanted to claim the South Pole first, and Scott was determined to be the one to do it. But while he was passionate, he didn't always have the same level of expertise as Amundsen. Amundsen kept his expedition plans a secret until the last minute. Even his own crew didn't know they were headed to the South Pole. He studied Inuit survival techniques, learned about dog sledding, and brought plenty of sled dogs, which he believed would be essential for survival and speed. Scott, on the other hand, relied on a combination of motorized sledges, ponies, and man-hauling, which meant his men pulled the sleds themselves. Motorized sledges were new technology, and they didn't work well in the extreme cold. The ponies also struggled in the harsh Antarctic environment. While Amundsen had a straightforward route with plenty of food caches along the way, Scott's supplies were often placed too far apart, and he didn't bring enough food for the entire journey. In October 1911, both teams set out toward the South Pole, but their journeys were very different. Amundsen's team moved swiftly and efficiently, covering ground with well-trained dogs and experienced skiers. They faced challenges, of course, but Amundsen's meticulous planning helped them overcome the harsh Antarctic conditions. Scott's team, however, had a tougher time. The motorized sledges broke down early in the journey, and the ponies couldn't handle the cold. Eventually, Scott and his men were left to haul their sleds by hand, a slow and exhausting method. As they pushed toward the pole, the physical and mental strain began to take a toll on Scott's team. On December 14, 1911, Amundsen's team finally reached the South Pole. They planted the Norwegian flag and celebrated their success, knowing they'd made history as the first people to reach this desolate point on Earth. Amundsen left behind a small tent with a letter for Scott, just in case Scott's team arrived after them and needed proof of their achievement. A month later, on January 17, 1912, Scott's team reached the South Pole, only to find Amundsen's tent and the Norwegian flag. Can you imagine how heartbreaking that must have been? After enduring so much hardship, Scott and his men had arrived second, and they knew the return journey would be even more difficult. Amundsen and his team made it safely back to their base camp, completing their mission without any major incidents. Scott's team, however, faced disaster after disaster. Exhaustion, extreme weather, and dwindling supplies made the journey back nearly impossible. In March 1912, just 11 miles from a supply depot, Scott and his remaining men set up camp for the last time. Their supplies ran out, and they couldn't go on. Scott's final diary entry read, "We shall stick it out to the end, but we are getting weaker, of course, and the end cannot be far." Months later, a search team found the tent, along with Scott's diaries. His words told the story of a brave but tragic journey that had captured the imagination of the British public and the world. The race to the South Pole is more than just a story of adventure. It teaches us the importance of preparation, adaptability, and humility in the face of nature's power. Amundsen's success was due to careful planning, reliance on tested techniques, and respect for the extreme environment. Scott's tragic end, while heroic, highlights the dangers of underestimating the challenges and relying on unproven technology. Both men became legends, but for very different reasons. Amundsen is remembered for his precision and foresight, while Scott is honored for his courage and determination, even in the face of unimaginable hardship. So that's the story of the race to the South Pole, a tale of triumph, tragedy, and the relentless human spirit. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe for more fascinating stories from history. Let us know in the comments, which explorer do you think had the right approach? Amundsen's meticulous planning or Scott's determination and grit? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.